Okay, let's go ahead and begin here with our first tutorial video. This is going to be called Capítulo Preliminar, Bienvenidos. And Bienvenidos simply means welcome, welcome. And so this is just looking at just a big collection of various basic things that one must really learn in Spanish to be successful with the language. And this is going to be part one. So I'm going to go ahead and have two different parts of this tutorial video, and I'll probably do that on all of the chapters. And the idea is just to give you a brief oversight of what we're going to see here in the chapters, helping you along the way, giving you a little bit of structure. So let's begin. We start our first chapter here with introduce yourself, greet others, and say goodbye. Following that, use expressions of courtesy. Following this, spell in Spanish, identify people and classroom objects, and locate people and things. All right, so to begin here, introducing yourself, greeting others, and saying goodbye. This is what the beginning of this chapter is going to look at. And so it talks about presentaciones. Presentaciones is just talking about meeting people. And funny enough, this chapter starts off with not regular verbs like what we'll see later on, comer, vivir, etc. These are regular verbs. But it starts off talking a lot about llamarse, llamarse. Yo me llamo, tú te llamas, él o ella se llama. And if you're native to Texas or from the South, you'll probably, or the Southwest for that matter, you'll be very familiar with me llamo, ella se llama. And this verb llamarse is what we call a reflexive verb. So these books always like to start out with this, just because it's so common and it's essential to introducing yourself in general, and to meeting other people in the Spanish language. But I'm not always agreeing with how it's going to be in the very beginning of the chapters, because this is a little bit complicated. But it's okay. So all we're going to learn here is me llamo is how I'd say I'm called or my name is. Tú te llamas, is just going to be referring to what is your name? What are you called? And then when we're asking here, se llama. Ella se llama. Ella se llama Maria. It's just referring to her name is Maria. She is called Maria. Saludos y despedidas. So when you see this in the textbook, just keep in mind that saludos, un saludo, is just Spanish for greetings, whereas despedidas is Spanish for goodbyes. Expressions of courtesy. Obviously, expressions of courtesy, very much like what we have in English, and you can see this more in your textbook. Por favor, please. Gracias, thank you. De nada, you're welcome. Lo siento, I'm sorry. Or I'm sorry to hear that. Lo siento. Con permiso, it's just going to be like excuse me or pardon me as you're working your way through a crowd, for example. Perdón. Perdón is much more like pardon me or excuse me, in the sense of saying, oh, I'm sorry. Perdón. And spelling in Spanish. So to spell in Spanish, we have to learn el alfabeto español. And so let's go through these here so you can hear the correct pronunciation. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, Ñ, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. Okay, and looking here at identify people and classroom objects. So what we're going to look at with this section is we look at and focus on the verb ser. The verb ser, which means in English to be, to be. So what we're going to see here is we're just going to focus on these pronouns that we have here on the side. So yo, tú, usted, él, and ella. Ella. Now there's other pronouns that we will use and learn in Spanish. So what we're just going to look at right here though is the first, second, and third person. And the verb ser, based on whatever pronoun comes before it, we're going to look at a change that we see in the verb. So the verb will transform. And so we have here yo soy, which refers to I am. Tú eres, you are. And you say this in an informal way to a friend, to a colleague you're on close terms with, to a girlfriend or to a boyfriend, to a parent. Usted es, you are. Usted is going to be you, but in a much more formal sense. So this could be with a boss, with a teacher, maybe even a grandparent. And then finally here, él es, ella es. So él here is referring to he, ella is referring to she. Okay, locating people and things. So the word right here that we use, the interrogativa, se llama donde. Donde. And donde just means where. Está, we'll see this in the book, está. The verb estar, which also means to be, but in a different way, will be one that we're going to explore a little bit later. So we just saw that ser means to be. Estar, está, in this sense, it's just going to be talking about something that, where is it? But this is going to be talking about location, whereas ser is going to be talking about things that are much more permanent, much more permanent. But we'll explore the differences between these two later on, so don't worry about that at all. So we have here, ¿dónde está? ¿Dónde está? Where is? ¿Dónde está la profesora? Ah, la profesora. Ella está en la clase. Okay, so where is the professor? ¿Dónde está la profesora? She is in the class. Ah, está en la clase. Okay, and that's going to be all for right now. Let's move on now, whenever you're ready, to chapter 1, Capítulo Preliminar, Bienvenidos, parte 2. Okay, and so we'll look at part 2 here, and as soon as you're ready to move on. Thank you.